Hey, what's up YouTube? This is iAzzzaaaaxD here, and today I'll be bringing you my Yuya Sakaki Season 1 deck profile from a Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 anime. So yeah, Yuya's deck, it consists of a lot of cartoony type cards, but basically they are mostly all pendulum monsters. During Season 1, he sort of spammed the heck out of action cards, and since action cards aren't printed, in the OCG or the TCG, they are significantly more monsters than spell and trap cards. So without further ado, let's begin. So Yuya's boss monster, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, scale 4, 2500 attack points. If this card battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage inflicted is doubled. So if you can somehow nullify the effect of, say, Maiden with Eyes of Blue, and then attack into it, the opponent would take 5k in damage due to Odd Eyes' ability, so that is pretty decent. And its pendulum ability isn't too bad. Just give us a quick read. During your end phase, you can destroy this card, and if you do, add one pendulum monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck to your hand. So it's an easy way of getting the cards you need to set the scale. Next up, we have 4 Magician cards that he uses throughout Season 1. The most prominent being Stargazer and Time Gazer. Just quickly move them down. Before he acquires, the ability to Xyz summon, in which he then gains these two cards, Zanki and Zangsheng. I hope I got the pronunciation of their name right, because, it's a pretty stupid name. So yeah, these 4 magicians allow him to set the scale fairly easily. The scale is quite wide, so pendulum summoning monsters between 1 and 8 or 3 and 8 is very easy to do. And of course, they have some pretty decent abilities. Stargazer and Time Gazer, pretty standard pendulum abilities really. You must control no monsters to actually activate Time Gazer in the pendulum zone. And between the two of them, they sort of nullify the use of spell and trap cards when opponent's monster attacks a pendulum monster, or if your pendulum monster attacks them. Now these two, Zanki and Zangsheng, these allow you to Xyz summon an Xyz monster using an Xyz monster as a material. This one sees a lot of play in most Odd Eyes Magician pendulum based decks. This one not so much, but when I build my decks I like to have the pair just because it sort of, I guess it just sort of fits really. So, alright, let's move on to the Performer Power pendulum monsters. We've got Performer Power Camelump, Performer Power Chiamole, Performer Power Drummerilla, Performer Power Fire Muffler Lion, Performer Power Kyodoscorp. Another name I really struggle to pronounce for some bizarre reason. Then we have Performer Power Lizard Draw, Performer Power Partnaga, Performer Power Silverclaw, Performer Power Trampolinx. So yeah, they're pretty standard Performer Power pendulum monsters, each varying in ability, attack and scale, but they are easily accessible. So now, at some point during the Season 1 anime, Yuya acquired the knowledge of fusion summoning as such, and obviously he ran a polymerization, which will be in here later. But he also managed to acquire Performer Power Trumpwitch, which, when in scale, allows you to fusion summon one fusion monster using monsters you control on the field as materials. So it does sort of give you an easier way to fuse, and of course you can always normal summon just normal summon it, and then you contribute it to search a polymerization from deck to hand. And the last Performer Power monster we have is Performer Power Turntoad. I quite like the artwork on this one, it just looks quite comical, but yeah. So yeah, just shift these to one side. So that's all the pendulum monsters. And now we'll just move on to regular monsters. So up first we have Odd-Eyes Dragon. Now this was what Yuya ran before it became sort of upgraded into Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon. Like its pendulum counterpart, it's 2-5 attack, 2k defense. However, this one's ability is if it destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to a graveyard, inflict damage to opponent equal to half the original attack of that monster sent to the graveyard. So again, it's fairly decent in terms of attack and ability, but as a personal preference, when I'm building a deck, I prefer Odd-Eyes Pendulum, just because it's easily resummonable if it's destroyed. Then we have a Block Spider. I believe this card was used maybe once or twice during Season 1, and it does have a different ability to its anime counterpart. So the normal monsters, non-pendulum monsters, performer powers are Hip Hippo, Skeet Skimmer, Whip Snape, Spike Eagle, Bow Hopper, Elifama, Friend Donkey, Stamp Turtle, Swordfish, and lastly Spring Goose. Again, just the performer power archetype used. We have varying abilities that you can use when you need to. And yeah, so as you can probably tell, you ran a very monster heavy deck during Season 1. And it was only towards the end part of Season 1 that he started to include a bit more spell and trap support. One of these being Performer Power Recasting. This one lets you reveal any number of Performer Power monsters from your hand and shuffle them into a deck. Then you draw cards equal to the number of cards you shuffled in. This is basically a little bit like a reload or a magical mallet, but you have to obviously shuffle back in Performer Power monsters, which this deck isn't exactly lacking. The one Polymerization. With Trump Witch and with this poly, that's 2 ways to fuse, and he only actually had 2 fusion monsters during Season 1. Illusion Balloons. This one, this card states that if a monster or monsters was destroyed during this turn while you control it, you excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, then you can special summon one excavated Performer Power monster and then shuffle the rest back into the deck. So it sort of acts like a little bit of a pot of duality, but again, it's specific to Performer Powers. And then Hippo Carnival. So you get to special summon 3 Hippo tokens, but they can't be tributed. You cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck while a Hippo token is in the monster zone. And for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, your opponent can't target monsters for attacks except for Hippo tokens. So it's a little bit like a scapegoat, but again, it's more Performer Power specific in terms of, it's based on Hip Hippo. Then we have a Mimiclay and a Wonder Balloons, and that completes the spell lineup. And I've only actually just realised that you can't see all the cards I've just set down, at least not very well. So I do apologise. And then lastly, we only have our 6 trap cards, which is Command Performance, Performer Power Revival, Last Minute Cancel, Performer Power Call, a second copy of Revival, I'm not sure how it got a bit mixed up there, and then a Performer Power Pinch Helper. So yeah, these spells and traps, they are very specific to the Performer Power archetype, and really you can't really use them in any deck, but yeah. So anyway, that's the main deck all done and dusted, and now just 4 cards in the extra deck. One being Rune-Eyes Pendulum Dragon, a 3k beta, which can attack a different number of times depending on the level of the spellcaster monster used to fuse with it. And then we have a Beast-Eyes Pendulum Dragon, another 3k beta, and if this one destroys a monster by battle and sends it to a graveyard, your opponent takes damage equal to the attack of the beast type monster used to fusion summon it. We then have a Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. This card was acquired off of his Xyz counterpart Yuto, I believe. And it's essentially the Xyz version of Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. And using a combination of Zanki and Zhangsheng Magician, along with Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, Yuya is able to make Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon, which is the first ever Xyz Pendulum card. It's a 3k beta. It requires 2 level 7 dragon type monsters. Of course, you can use just 2 level 7s to make it, but unless you used an XC monster as an Xyz material, you don't get its full effect, which is slightly overpowered, but of course very hard to pull off. So anyway guys, that's my Yuya Sakaki Season 1 deck profile. I do apologise for the lateness of uploading a video, because quite recently I've struggled to come up with content ideas, or basically any kind of brain function whatsoever, because I'm a little bit idiotic, but also because I didn't actually have the time to record or make a video. So again, I do apologise about that. But yeah, stay tuned for more videos this week, in which I'll be doing a Jaden Yuki Season 1 deck profile and a Yu-Gi-Moto Battle City profile. And yeah, I'll see what other videos I can cram in for you guys. So yeah, this is iAzzzaaaaxD signing off with my Ultimate Rare Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time, and hopefully, if you like what you see, you'll hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and leave a comment down below just telling me what you like or dislike about this video. And of course, if you are new to the channel, be sure to actually, stay tuned and visit frequently for more content. And yeah, I'll see you guys next video.